Good evening. I'm going to do a movie review of a documentary about John Candy called I Like Me. But this is kind of not a complete review on his movie. It's more about my life because that's exactly what I saw while watching the John Candy documentary. I am in no way trying to compare myself to John Candy, but I did witness and feel a lot of parallels in his life and what he went through and how he was feeling that compared to my life as an entertainer, an actor, an all-around big-hearted human being. First off, John Candy is an icon. When I first started acting, I was told by casting agents and people of that like, when I started officially acting in like 1988, 87, that I was the next John Candy. Due to my weight, the way I looked, I had a unique lisp. I had all the characteristics, according to them, to be the next John Candy. I was also mentioned in the same breath as people like John Belushi, as people like, from Saturday Night Live, Chris Farley, and I kind of had that ingrained in me that I could be that special. Now, whether my career panned out like John Candy or not, that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to remember John Candy in the excellent documentary called I Like Me. And at this moment in my life, when I don't have much and I am struggling to see a future past health, financial, mental, and many other struggles, this documentary made me look at my life in a respectful manner, in a very good manner. And I've been in a dark place for a while, for a good long while. But this documentary made me think, I'm John Candy. So many parallels to my life in this documentary. That I just thought I was witnessing my life being told to me by the man or woman above. And I had to make this video, and I had to tell some stories and why I feel so proud for my entire life. And I don't want this to be a legacy video in a documentary review, but that's what this might become. I don't know the future. I don't know how long I'll be here, but I do know one thing. I have a legacy. And people like me. Yeah, go ahead and make fun of me. I'm an easy target. But I like me. I like who I am, and I like who I've become. That was a semi-quote from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with John Candy giving performances of a lifetime in those movies, being an actual actor. Not just the fat, funny guy. Not just the fat, funny buddy. And that's why I absolutely love this documentary, because we got to witness and hear the pain that caused him from his losing his father early. I didn't lose my father, but in a parallel, I lost my mother at a young age. She moved on and didn't come back into my life till, many years later. So he lost a father figure at an early age. I lost a mother at an early age. And we both became sensitive souls. We both had a lot of trauma. Now, granted, my mother's back in my life, but it still was never the same. And we had a lot of trauma and PTSD from it. And now at my older age, I've realized I've had major health issues, PTSD, anxiety, panic attacks, health issues. And John Candy was going through the same thing. And he didn't let a lot of people know. He didn't want to get on medications. He didn't let doctors tell him what to do. Like to try all these medications that would cause major side effects or whatever. And I've been doing the same thing. And again, I'm not comparing myself to John Candy, even though that's what you think it is. I'm reflecting on his life through my life. It feels similar in a lot of parallels to what I just watched in the documentary. So before I go any further, I beg of you, if you're a movie fan, a John Candy fan, a me fan, please go watch the documentary called I Like Me, and then come back and watch the rest of this video. Because now you'll get a sense for what I'm feeling and what I'm talking about. I also would recommend try to watch some of my videos on my life, because I talk a lot and I tell my frustrations, my pain. I give some stories, and you'll get a better insight into who I am, what I've become, and how I hope to leave my legacy, which I now know I have one. I don't ever want to feel like a star, like an icon, whatever people call me, because I'm just fucking normal. I struggle just like everybody. And Hollywood puts you on a pedestal sometimes. And sometimes when you only meet people that want to take your picture or get an autograph, you might get a big head at certain times and have an ego, and you put yourself on a pedestal. And God will humble you. Humble you. God will humble you, as he's done for me many times. I'm being humbled right now. I don't even know how I'm going to pay my rent and my bills for the upcoming months, because I'm on low income, not really working, don't have the health for it, don't have the heart for it, the blood pressure, the mental. But I'm very blessed and proud to be here and give you this video. Now, John Candy, again, the movie is fantastic. He talked about his struggles with his family, losing his father at an early age, and then how he resorted to comedy so he didn't get bullied. Then he started doing improv, and like, he didn't do stand-up, but he did comedy skits at Second City in Canada and stuff like that. And that's kind of the exact same story for me. I had to stay at home. My father was working to pay the money, since we were not a two-income household, with my mother not being there. And I had to stay at school until my father got home from work. So I got bullied. I had a funny voice. I was the fat kid. And I took on the Glee Club to do skits and do plays, and just to become somebody different than what I truly was. And that's what John Candy did. That's parallel number one. Then John Candy got discovered by an agent. Same thing with me through the play and the musical that I did it in the Glee Club, where we performed in front of some important people. Then I became an actor, started getting auditions, started taking acting classes, and learning that side of the industry. Basically paving my way to eventually have some co-starring roles in major motion pictures, be on some quality TV shows in the 90s. But my career never really took off. It hit a plateau at a moment, and then everything just kind of laid silent. John Candy's career, on the other hand, just kept going up and up and up. And now looking back, everybody that worked with him ended up loving him and respecting him. But that's postpartum. John Candy was loved by everybody. Of course, postpartum. We don't know what they would have said about him if he was still alive. We would hope it would be just the same thing they said about him after his death. And that's how I feel about me. But I feel that I'm really misunderstood. I've had conflicts with the industry, people in the industry. They've told me, sensitive things. They bullied me while I've been working on movies and TV shows because I never was one of them. Maybe most of these people hit a plateau where they thought they were bigger and better than everybody, and they looked down upon people that were different than them. And that's what happened to me. That's what I believe. I'm not playing victim. I'm just saying these are my experiences with certain people. I feel like I was a really humbled individual, poor my entire life, helped my family pay the bills when I started making any bit of money, and I became the man of the household, just like John Candy did. That's why I see so many parallels. And I hope whenever I'm gone, if anybody made a documentary about me, I hope they would say I was a big-hearted person, a very sincere, kind-hearted human being that tried to love everybody when I was working on a set or a movie or just going out and hanging out in real life. I would hope they would say that about me. I would hope that they say they liked me. And I like who I am. Even though I constantly think about changing who I am to get back into the industry, I like me. And while watching the documentary, I heard a story about John Candy in the movie Stripes. And he ended up working with one of the people that I had the pleasure of working with, one of my heroes as well, Ivan Reitman. I worked with Ivan Reitman on the poster called Evolution. Behind me are some of the projects that I've worked on or been a part of. And I'm very proud of it to this day. But John Candy, his character on film and TV was promoted and defined at the early points of his career by his weight. And in the movie Stripes, there was a mud wrestling scene with women in bikinis, and he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to be defined by his weight, to be the fat funny guy, and that's all he would be known as. But he was just starting his career, and even when he did improv at Second City, they said he never addressed his weight because he didn't want to be defined by that. I'm a bigger guy as well. But he went on to do the scene in Stripes with Ivan Reitman, and he just went for it 100%. And he only told a few people that he was not happy to do it and how he felt. but he needed a door opening, and he got his opening with Spielberg in the movie 1941, and I've had the pleasure of working with Spielberg and Reitman on Evolution. John Candy's career got basically started by Spielberg and Reitman in terms of movies. My career did too. Again, I didn't have the biggest and best career like John Candy, but that doesn't mean I can't still have it, or I wasn't as good as John Candy. I'm a hell of an actor. I just never had the opportunity on every given occasion to show that side of myself. And it's the same exact thing that happened to John Candy early on in his career. He didn't have that opportunity. He was the fat, funny guy. But Spielberg and Reitman and all these people, Eugene Levy, they knew who he was, they wanted to work with him, and they absolutely loved him. And I can say, looking back, that's the same way that Spielberg and Reitman thought of me. Little old MichaelRayBower. They saw something in the auditions, they hired me, they wanted to work with me, and God damn it, that's a memory and an accomplishment that I will never, ever, ever be upset at. Whether my career took off or it plateaued, to think that John Candy, one of my heroes that I was compared to at an early age when I started acting, started with kind of Spielberg and Reitman, and then also others like John Hughes, Chris Columbus, and I was compared to him on certain occasions by important people. Now, how do I know that Spielberg and Reitman loved me? Because they've told me. They hired me. I knew when I auditioned for Evolution, the audition process went really haywire. And I got a lot of negative feedback from Reitman, the casting directors, and other people. And they told me to change some shit. And I didn't change it. I'll tell you that story in another video on another day. I didn't change what they wanted me to change. Why? Because I based my character off of another Ivan Reitman character named Bluto from Animal House that I knew Ivan Reitman loved and started to help create the career of John Belushi as well. So I went into that audition, the 5th audition after they told me to change some shit that they were not happy with me. I told them to go fuck themselves, basically. I didn't say it, but I didn't change the audition. And I kept doing it the same way I did it. My way. Then I heard that they didn't think I could be funny. They didn't know if I was scary, aggressive, crazy, or funny. So I went and filmed the audition overnight, and I played every character from the movie. I wore a costume for every character. And I filmed it all night after I got that note that they didn't know if I could be funny. I played every character from the movie Evolution. And I filmed myself and I edited it all together and I sent them a VHS tape the next morning or the next afternoon. I had the job in Evolution a day later. I proved I could be funny. But I knew that they wanted a crazy comedian character like John Belushi in Animal House. But I had a big heart. And that's what Ivan Reitman missed while we were filming Evolution. And I think that's what got missed by a lot of the cast. And that's why I think the movie failed. It didn't have enough heart. They didn't really let us improv, get to know each other, become a family. It was more on a structural base. They were trying to make the next Ghostbusters, but with aliens. And a lot of things went haywire. People didn't understand me. I was always misunderstood because I was a go-getter. I was proud to be on the set every day. And others were like, man, act like you belong. Why are you so gung-ho? Yes, Mr. Reitman. What do you need, Mr. Reitman? Oh, because he was my hero. But some of the other actors, they were just going through the motions. I knew that that was a moment I might not ever have. So I lived every moment of it. And I tried to befriend a lot of people on that movie. And I tried to turn it into a career. I tried to get press for myself, but I couldn't afford it. And a lot of other little issues with it, plus the movie tanked. I'll do an evolution story one day, video. But I'm proud to know that at one moment in time, Ivan Reitman and or Spielberg saw John Candy or something in me that they knew could be a future star. So that means I am the star. Thank you. And thank you, John Candy. I like me. I'm not happy where I'm at in life, financially, health-wise, but I like me. And I think a lot of you do too. People like me, John Candy, we can't help but have our heart open up to the world. And we don't want to be a part of, honestly, a part of the big Hollywood machine. We just want to go do work, quality work, entertain people. Then we want to come back home and disappear. John Candy was able to have a big, beautiful family with his wife and his children. And that's something that I'm clearly missing in my life. I think sometimes actors and other people have to have some of the hardest tragedies so that way when they do get an opportunity to have dreams come true, it's that give and take. We have to have hard tragedies or die young, like John Candy and many others, because we've had those moments that billions upon billions of people will never have. It's that yin and yang. It's that good with the bad. It's that special with the hurtful. I hope there's a second comeback for me. But I got to find some passion and some health and some energy. And I got to tell Hollywood or YouTube or anything I think about doing in life that I ain't going nowhere. I'm so proud to think of myself at this moment as a John Candy 2.0. Again, I can never compare myself to him. But a lot of parallels that he felt and went through, shit. They're all here, and they're all here for me, and they're all here. He had a lot of anxiety and fears and panic attacks toward the end of his life. And he always had it in the back of his head that he was going to die early like his father. But he kind of didn't take time away. He kept on going, and so it got worse. He smoked, he drank. And I'm so happy in a weird way that my brother was the alcoholic, smoker, drinker, drugger, because I watched him kill himself, cause people trauma and drama, but I don't do it. I'm 50 years of age. John Candy only made it to 45. I'm already 5 years past John Candy in life. But I'll be honest with you, I feel the same way he did. But I think me not smoking and drinking and being depressed and sleeping a lot has probably saved my heart and my life. I don't know for how long. So I'm proud of everything that's happened to me, even though it still hurts to this day. And I'm afraid of family. I'm afraid of people. I'm afraid to go outside sometimes because I got a lot of issues going on. But I'm grateful for John Candy's life. I'm grateful to be compared to him by a few people growing up in Hollywood. And I'm so grateful for my life, my existence, and for all of you. Man, John Candy was greatness. And Macaulay Culkin was in this documentary, and I've met him as well. And Macaulay Culkin said that almost everybody that's an actor or a child actor grows up to be either crazy, unhealthy, or a drug addict and a drinker, and they die so young. Why is that? That's the question that needs to be asked. But it made a lot of sense. I may not be all of those things that were just mentioned, but I definitely got traits of a few of them. That's where the conspiracies can come into play. Are we brainwashed? In acting classes? Uh, are we MK Ultra from an early age? Are we abused at an early age by all the industry people and the bad people? Again, sometimes that stuff is fun to talk about or can theorize or whatever, and it may be true on many instances, but that's not what this video is about. This video is just me being grateful and humble and watching a beautiful documentary that kind of shined a light on my life at a moment that it was needed, where I needed to make this video and tell everybody I like me. And I believe you like me too. And I'm grateful. Please go watch the documentary I Like Me if you haven't already. I told you to do it earlier, but go watch it. And not that you have to think about anybody but John Candy. But when you hear some of those stories, almost everything that was said about the way he felt, I've had those same feelings. And I've had a lot of the same experiences. So I hope the people that I worked with, whenever I'm dead and gone, I'd have to be more famous than this. But I hope they would even internally say, you know what? I thought Michael was weird. I thought he was a conspiracy theorist. He had a funny voice. He's just a lazy fat ass. Whatever people want to think, I hope when I'm gone they say, you know what? I liked him. He made me feel normal. He made me feel loved. He made me feel respected. And he was the icon that was befriending me. And he made me feel like the icon that's befriending him. Please hit that thumbs up, that like, that subscribe button. consider donating to my channel or to me, as I'm truly struggling. And I got merchandise and autographs and stuff in my store down below. And any help you give, I could truly use it. But you don't owe me anything. I owe you the world for being in my life. I like me.